Welcome back to another episode of Crown Convos. My name is MT Duval and I will be your host in this amazing series that we help ensure you feel prepared and confident for NAMM Nationals. Today's episode is going to be taking you behind the judges' table. So if you've ever wondered exactly what we're looking for, what the scoring process looks like, all of those things, we have got you covered. Let's jump in. So on today's episode, we are going to be diving into the scoring process. We'll talk a little bit about score sheets, we'll talk about feedback, how you can use your score sheets from the state competition to help you prepare for nationals, and we'll be spending a lot of time on that all-important finale show and how scoring will work during that time. During today's episode, you'll also get a chance to hear from Josh Monroy. He is the fabulous producer, Grammy-winning producer behind our Music Artist of the Year optional contest. He'll be talking to you a little bit about what he is looking for in the audition process. If you are a vocalist, you do not want to miss out on this opportunity to be a part of the Music Artist of the Year competition. And for our princesses this year, we have a specialty division just for them, and we're calling it our Rising Star Recognition. So stay tuned to hear more from Josh. Finally, at the very end of this episode, we've got a little flash sale going on for those of you who like to use your voices to make an impact. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's start with how the numbers and scoring process actually works. And I will focus first on the optional contests because it's a little bit more straightforward because they're individual contest by contest. And then I'll get into the overall areas of competition. So to start, our optional contests, as well as all of our competitions at NAMM Nationals, are judged on a scale of 1 to 9. 1 being the lowest score you can receive and 9 being the highest score that you can achieve. So we don't give 10s and we don't give 0s. It is 1 to 9. The way that we instruct our judges is to use the full scale. So a 1 might be somebody who you really didn't come out and do anything at all, right? You'd have to be really struggling to be a 1. A 9 is somebody who is just fantastic, the best, cannot be beat, excellent, excellent, excellent. So we reserve those 9s for just really incredible performances. The judges are told to think about our scale 1 to 3 as below average, 4 through 6 as average, and 7 through 9 as above average. So our judges have this in their mind. They have their own prep and their own training, and they're actually getting a copy of this video too, so they know exactly what we've told you as contestants and families. They are trained on using the entirety of this scoring rubric. Let's assume that you are doing the casual wear modeling optional contest. You are going to come out on stage and you will see your panel of judges sitting in front of the stage. In front of them, they're going to have a score sheet with all of the contestants' names and a space in which to write your score. They are using that 1 to 9 rubric that we talked about, and they are thinking about your performance as a whole. Their assignment is that by the time that you are exiting the stage, they are putting pen to paper and giving you that score. In addition to using 1 to 9, we also allow our judges to utilize pluses and minuses. Because we do not use decimal points, the pluses and the minuses only serve us in the event of a tie. So for example, if a girl gave a performance that was really good but not quite a 9, a judge might assign her an 8+. That plus is not really going to come into account unless there is a tie later on. When it comes to ties, we will count up the number of pluses and the number of minuses to determine the tiebreaker, okay? So we'll come back to that a little bit later, but that is what's going to happen with our optional contests. You may have noticed that some of our optional contests actually re-compete at your red carpet awards ceremony. And this is a true re-compete. We call it our optional runoffs. So at the conclusion of the optional contest for your division, we have a selection that actually will come back and re-perform for their final placements. Those optionals are runway, spokesmodel, talent, actress, and casual wear. So for those 5 optionals, we are going to look at the scores and determine who the top 5 scorers are. Now this is where that tiebreaker might come in handy. If there is a tie on that 5th spot, we're gonna go back to those pluses and minuses to determine who is going to recompete at the red carpet show. When the top 5 recompetes, they get to perform again. Their slate is wiped clean. Our judges are watching these performances, these top 5 performances, and they are tasked with ranking. This ranking is what determines who the overall national winner is for a given optional. So for example, you might have been second runner-up going into the red carpet award ceremony. But if you knock their socks off during that red carpet re-performance and rank up to number 1, you are going to be our national talent winner. Once the winner is pulled out, we go back to the scores to sort out our house awards. You may have noticed that in addition to awarding a grand prize winner, we also recognize then the remaining competitors who were the top scorers on the National American Miss side, which is our state queens, and the All-American Miss side, which is our city queens. And we will do a winner and 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th runner-up for both of those houses. So you have a lot of opportunities to be recognized for your talents in many of our optional contests. For some of our optional contests, there is no recompete. So the scores that you get during the initial phase of competition will stand. Examples of this include our Fresh Face competition and our Fun Fitness competition. Another unique optional that I want to talk a bit about is our photogenic optional contest. When it comes to our photogenic contest, we actually use a ranking system where our judges can tactilely look at photos next to one another and then place them in the order that they think they should be ranked. Every judge's ranking goes into the final score, and from those rankings, we generate our final placements in the photogenic competition. So you won't receive a numerical score for photogenic. There are some other competitions that work similarly: our academic achievement, heart of service, women of impact, and any other optional that requires an essay or a pre-submission. Those are judged by a separate panel of judges and is purely comparative. So we are looking at what girls are doing and sorting them into their final placements as opposed to providing a numerical score. Let's get into the overall areas of competition and how we decide who our new NAMM National Royalty will be. There are 5 areas of competition that go into your final score at NAMM Nationals. And the first 2 you will have already completed prior to your arrival on site at the Hyatt Regency. First off, 15% of your score will come from resume. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out nammnationals.com and navigate to the forms section. This is where you can download your resume. Everyone has to use the resume template assigned for their division. And be mindful, not all divisions utilize the same template. You will complete this resume according to the rules that are provided right at the top of the resume and with additional guidance provided in your guidebook. It is incredibly important that you follow the rules regarding your resume. It may only be 1 page. You cannot alter the template. You cannot add emojis, color, anything crazy. Just keep it a standard 1-pager, black and white professional resume. If you navigate to the pageant portal, you'll be able to submit all of the required components to secure that full 10% of your score. The next area of competition that you will complete prior to nationals is your community involvement project. Every girl attending NAMM Nationals is asked to contribute at least 4 hours of service to their community. If you navigate to the pageant portal, you'll be able to submit your community involvement project and the required components in order to receive that full 15% credit towards your overall score. Each of the on-site overall competitions will count towards 25% of your total preliminary score. These are going to be your formal wear competition, personal introduction, and interview. We are going to continue to use that standardized 1 through 9 rubric for every one of these competitions. And we're also going to allow our judges to continue to utilize pluses and minuses to help assist in breaking any ties that might come up as we shift from the preliminaries to the finale. Let's look at formal wear first. In formal wear, the judges are looking for 3 key things. Number 1, adherence to the pattern. Something that we tell our judges, and it's incredibly important, is we want a girl who is able to follow the rules. Now, that is important for many reasons. Number 1, it shows respect. Number 2, it demonstrates the type of title holder that that young woman or girl will be, her ability to follow directions and follow through on things. And 3, it ensures that all of our contestants are on an equal playing field. So please take time to review the walking pattern for formal wear because it has changed for this year. And I will provide a demo towards the end of this session because that was a question that was asked last week. But if you have any further questions, just ask. We are here for you and we are here to ensure that you are successful, and that includes answering any questions that might come up. So going back to what the judges are looking for, they're looking for a girl who is following the pattern, is following the rules. Number 2, presence. Presence, 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 okay? There is something about it when a girl steps up onto the stage and radiates confidence. You can feel it. I get goosebumps just thinking about it because you know it when you see it. And above and beyond the dress that you wear, the how great of a modeler you are, how amazing you're walking and strutting. If you do not have a presence, and that presence, let me be straight, is here, okay? It is what is happening in your face. It is the light and the energy and the excitement in your eyes that conveys to the judges and to the audience that you are excited to be here. It is an intangible thing, but it is the thing that resonates with the judges. So mamas, as you're practicing with your daughters, something that I like to tell my daughter, and honestly I tell myself as a grown competitor, what is it that I want to exude and project when I am up on that stage? So for me, as an older competitor, I put in the mindset of gratitude. So before I walk on stage for formal wear, I am thinking about how grateful I am that I get to be here in this moment and that I get to have this opportunity. And when I put that in my heart, it allows me to project it. And trust me when I say, when you're thinking about what you're trying to project and you're really invested and present in the moment, it impacts everything that's happening here. So I would never walk on a stage being super focused on, oh my gosh, I have to like hit the marks and walk a certain way. Like at that point, my friends, you just need to be present in the moment. And same for the little ones, right? Ask them, what do you want the judges to feel about you when you walk on that stage? Do you want them to feel your joy? Do you want them to feel your excitement? Do you want them to feel your confidence, right? So whatever word resonates with your daughter, have that be the thought that is on her mind before she steps out on stage, because it shows, and that is what the judges are looking for. They're looking for the girl that when she steps out, they go, man, I feel this, right? I feel it, like she is excited and she's ready. So walking pattern, projection, and then the third piece is the fit and the flatter of your wardrobe. This is important. Do you have to spend a fortune on your dress? No, you don't, okay? If you ever have a coach or another parent or anybody tell you that you have to spend a certain amount of money on your wardrobe, that you have to purchase it from a specific place, if you have to wear a specific color, it is not true. What is true is that the gown that you select, and I've covered this previously, is one that makes you as a competitor feel confident, and one that is properly hemmed, that follows the rules for your division, and that is fitted correctly, okay? And that matters because at the end of the day, you're on the stage, you're executing that pattern, you have beautiful presence, but we can't ignore the fact that you're modeling your gown, right? So we are not judging the gown, right? But we are judging the way that you are able to present in the gown, and your ability to present successfully in a gown. The fit, the flatter, the hemline, it matters, okay? So again, judges are gonna give you 1 to 9. You are going to have a full panel of judges. Your judges, every single one of them is going to independently look at you and give you a 1 to 9 in that competition. Once we have all of those judges' scores, they will go into our scoring system and it will produce an average. So you will have a formal wear average. So for the sake of example, we're gonna pretend that you were just fantastic, 9s across the board, 9 divided by my number of judges, no matter what, you got a 9. So your preliminary formal wear score is a 9, okay? Let's get into the personal introduction competition. What are our judges looking for? So again, they're utilizing that 1 to 9 scale. They are looking for a girl who can communicate confidently and effectively. Yes, they are listening to what you are saying, but something that I have always believed is it is not about what you say, it is about how you say it. This is not a contest of who has done the most community service. It is not a contest for who has the most impressive career aspiration. It is about a girl genuinely sharing who she is with the judges. Now, I won't get into the coaching tips because we had some of those last week and they were fabulous in terms of working on your introduction. So if you haven't checked out last week's Crown Convo, make sure to watch it back because I'm telling you those tips were gold. Gold. So go back and listen to what was said by our coaches who are sponsors and who shared their wisdom with us. Natural. We want a kid who is a kid. There are some required elements for your personal introduction. Those are your hometown, your ambition, something interesting about yourself, which could just be your hobby, your service, whatever it is that you want to highlight, and then your name. You do have a 60-second time limit at NAM Nationals. I would not advise pushing your intro up to that 60-second limit. I think 55 seconds is a great place to be because you never know if you're gonna get up there and speak a little bit more slowly. So our judges are listening to your ability to articulate your words, to make eye contact with them, and to be engaging as a speaker. So that might mean as you're talking, you have some hand gestures. You don't have to be super theatrical and doing too much because sometimes that's super distracting. But if you want to talk with your hands a little bit, you can definitely do that. But that eye contact and the articulation is super important. The other thing, just back to basics with your feet, making sure you can't see mine, but you are in that Model T position. Pretty feet is another way that we call it. I say Model T. Your feet are together, your knees are together, and that you're standing tall and confidently as you're delivering your introduction. Something that I hadn't hit on yet, but I want to address it now, is you may have noticed the mention of standard deductions. So when it comes to the personal introduction competition, there is that 60-second time limit. If you are over that 60-second limit, you've broken a rule. You've exceeded the allotted time for that competition. It is really difficult to tell the judges to make deductions for that. Some judges are really harsh about it, some are super lenient. And so in the interest of standardizing what happens, we will deduct a standardized amount from your score if you go over time. At the end of the day, don't go over time. Don't go over time. That being said, sometimes things happen. You stumble over your words, you speak more slowly than you intended, and you go over time. If you go over time, it is not necessarily the end of the world. I have seen girls who are extremely strong competitors who had an amazing performance the whole way through. They might have taken a deduction for personal introduction, but they've redeemed themselves in other areas of competition and still gone on to place very high. I say that because sometimes a girl goes over and she advances and then people say, well, that's not fair, she broke the rules. I assure you that she was penalized for breaking the rules. Her performance was just that good. So keep that in mind. With that standard deduction, at that 60-second time limit, we do ring the bell and we ask our judges to stop judging when that bell is rung. So the way that the judges will score you is based on those first 60 seconds. Again, don't go over time. Another place that we will utilize standard deductions is specifically for our junior divisions when it comes to makeup and cosmetic enhancements. You may have noticed that we took a really strong stance on that this year. We have always been a program that has talked about the value of kids being kids. And unfortunately, over the years, things have kind of evolved and people have kind of pushed and tested the limits of what's acceptable. And when we sit and we examine that, we realize that is not the heart of our program. If we're saying no makeup, we don't want parents to feel like they have to circumvent that by getting a tan or getting eyelash extensions. We don't need it. We don't need it for these girls that are in our preteen, junior preteen, and princess divisions. We don't want them to feel like they need these things to be beautiful, and we also want to be clear that we are not judging on a standard of beauty. That's not our program. So we will go down the line and look at the girls before competitions to see whether or not they have makeup on. And that is another place that there will be a standardized deduction. The reason that we do that as a standardized deduction is because as a judge, it is really hard sometimes to sit there and determine whether or not a kid is wearing makeup when they're on a stage. Some of these kiddos just have coloring, like Italian coloring. There's certain heritage nationality where you just have a look that maybe people look at you and think you're wearing makeup. When I was growing up, I went to a Catholic elementary school, and not every day, but quite often I got swabbed on the cheeks by the nuns because they thought I was wearing blush. I was not wearing blush. So just also please keep that in mind and trust us to do our job in monitoring for the makeup. In a case where there is a concern about makeup, we will do our best to find a family member and consult with them to give them an opportunity to remove that makeup prior to the competition. But please just don't do it. They don't need it, I promise. Our last area of competition is the interview competition, which we all love. You get to sit one-on-one with every single judge on your panel. And in case I haven't mentioned it yet, your judging panel for your overall competitions will stay with you through all competitions and finales. So it will be the same judges seeing you in all areas and making that final call at the finale show. During interview, the judges are looking for strong eye contact, an ability to communicate effectively, full sentences, full thoughts, and not being robotic and overprogrammed. Again, be genuine. They are not looking for scripted answers. They are not looking for a particular aspiration or a particular type of service that you're doing. It really just is about having a conversation. And again, the judges are scoring on that 1 to 9. They're using their pluses and minuses. Once all of these preliminary competitions, and I call them preliminary because they are preliminary to the finale, and that again is our formal wear, personal introduction, and interview. You'll have scores from every judge. It'll produce an average. So you will have your formal wear average score, your personal introduction average score, and your interview average score. Those averages will be added up, and that will produce your overall preliminary average. Those preliminary averages are what determine who advances in the finale. The top 11 scores plus the People's Choice will advance in the finale. And what does it mean to advance? It means that you have the opportunity to continue to compete for the title of the NAN National or All-American Queen for your division. If there is a tie, we will go back and we will look at pluses and minuses. So we will count up a girl's, and usually it really only matters if there's a tie for that 11th spot, that 12th spot. And I say 12th spot because sometimes People's Choice might have already been into the top on her own, which means that the girl that was technically the 12th scorer is going to bump up into the top 12. If there is a tie at that last spot, that's where we'll go back and we'll count up all of her pluses and minuses. So if you have 2 pluses and a minus, you've got 1 plus. And if you got 2 minuses and a plus, you've got 1 minus. So a plus versus a minus, the plus is what's moving on, okay? The top 12, they will walk, everybody's gonna walk in their formal wear. The formal wear is not rescored, but the judges are told, and they know who the top 12 is in the order that they are currently in with their score. And they are able to look at those girls during that formal wear walk to jog their memory. So I always say, have a strong presentation. It is a moving part of the show, so it is not super slow, like you're not going really slow, but you should be working on that projection, the posture, all of the things that we talked about for the formal wear competition. As the top 12 each delivers their personal introduction, they will receive a score, once again, 1 to 9, from each of our judges. Those scores are then put into our tabulator. During the finale, something different that we do is we do drop the high and the low score. The reason that we do this is to prevent any highballing or lowballing of contestants when it gets to that finale portion. So we will drop the high score and the low score of the judges to produce a average for your finale personal introduction. That becomes 10% of your overall score. So your preliminary average is coming in at 80%, because we want to honor all of that hard work that you've done all week. So 80% plus now this 10%. We will add those together to figure out at that moment who is the top 5. Now, in the event that there is a tie for that 5th spot, so we've got number 5 and number 6 have the same score, who's moving on to the top 5. At that juncture, we will go back and we will look at the girls' preliminary average. Whoever has the higher preliminary average is going to be the one that will advance to the top 5. In the event that those 2 girls had the same preliminary average, we will go to her interview average score. Okay, so that is the hierarchy of our tiebreakers. In the very rare and unlikely event that there is still a tie, that is where we will work with our head judge to make a decision based on the totality of the girls' performances. Once we have that top 5, they're going to be announced in random order, and they will come out and they will do an on-stage question. The on-stage question is going to be the same question for every girl in that division. The girls who are not on stage answering the question will have headphones. They will be not only backstage, but they are taken into a separate room. There is no chance that they can hear what that question is. And that on-stage question is going to come off of the topic list that will be provided at namnationals.com.
Well, the next portion of our show is a fan favorite. It's the top 5 final question. Now, how it will work is each delegate will have the same question. If she's not on stage, she will be backstage in a secure room with headphones so she cannot hear the question. She will have 30 seconds to complete her answer.
And it kicks off with our first top 5 finalists. Let's welcome Kentucky center stage. Come on over, Miss Kentucky, right in the middle.
Miss Kentucky, how do you balance staying connected online with spending time offline?
I'm an active graphic design business owner, so it does take a lot of my time up online. But I'm able to balance everything with accountability points, which is something I've translated as my time as a sorority member of Alpha Delta Pi. Accountability points that incorporate networking, sisterhood, and service through my reign as Miss Kentucky, and something that I would love to implement as the next national queen to keep me accountable as the next queen. Thank you.
She was Miss Kentucky.
You will have 30 seconds to answer your on-stage question. At the conclusion of those 30 seconds, a timer will go off and you should wrap up your answer. Again, the judges are scoring these on-stage questions on a scale of 1 to 9. We're taking those tabulations. We are dropping the high score and the low score awarded for each girl to produce an on-stage question average, and that becomes the final 10% of your score. And we just add it all up. So 80% is your preliminary average, 10% is your finale introduction, and 10% is your finale on-stage question. From there, we have our winner. In the event of ties, we will follow the same hierarchy as we used earlier. We will look first at a girl's preliminary average. We will then look at her interview. Then we will go to the head judge for the tiebreaker. That's the process. And from there, we have our new queen. There is no re-ranking that takes place at the national level during the finale. I will take a minute to talk about the on-stage question because that is something that is unique to NAM Nationals and does not happen at the state level. And really all it is an interview question that you are answering on stage. Of course, there's a little bit more tension with that, a little bit more nerves that come with speaking into a microphone and delivering your answer, but all of the same techniques and good habits that you would use in the interview room come into play for the on-stage question. You will get to hold the mic and you will talk to the audience and you will give them your answer. The best on-stage the best on-stage question answer are the ones that are sincere. Do not come into this with a prefabricated answer that you are going to give. Actually listen to the question being asked and answer that question. You don't have to tie it back to a platform. You don't have to tie it back to, and as your new National American Miss La La La. You don't have to do it. Sometimes it works and it sounds like it makes sense, and then more so often than not, it sounds really forced and over-rehearsed and insincere. So just speak from your heart, listen to the question, and answer it. Don't overthink it. You have received your score report from your NAMM state competition. As you're preparing for nationals, I would encourage you to take a look at your scores and look at what your average was, knowing now that it is out of a 9. Figure out where your strengths were and where your weaknesses were, and focus your attention on developing the areas that you might have scored lower and continuing to practice and put in the good work for the areas that you did well. Now it's time to hear a little bit from Josh Monroy, our Grammy-winning producer who spearheads our Music Artist of the Year optional contest. We had a chance to catch up with him in his studio and get to know a little bit about what he is looking for.
Hi, I'm Josh Monroy. I'm a 2-time Grammy-winning engineer, producer, songwriter, mixer. I've got about 15 platinum and gold records, and I'm the judge for the NAMM Music Artist of the Year. So, what makes a great audition? This is a great question. I really think it starts with the song choice, and making sure that song choice is going to do your voice justice, not only be in the key and the register that your voice is in, but it's also going to be something that's very memorable and well known to the audience, which is the judges, right? And you know, and it should probably have a little energy, a little tempo. You know, we don't want something that's going to be very drab and kind of boring. You know, you want something that's going to be impressive, energetic, allow you to work the stage, and really show your personality off as well as your vocal talent. So let's talk about the audition and callback process. It's going to start with the initial audition, and if you do well, you'll need to have a second song prepared for your callback. If you do well during the callbacks, then you will be notified. That's one of 5 people from each junior and senior division. There'll be 5 selected from each junior and senior division. And those 10 people will join us on stage during the Thanksgiving banquet, in which we will announce the winner of the NAMM Music Artist of the Year. Okay, so how should a contestant select their song? This is a great question. And this kind of piggybacks off of our last question. Selecting your song should really be about what suits your voice very well, right? You know, that's the first and foremost thing. We don't want something that's super low, that if you have a very high tenured voice, right? So we want something that's gonna suit your voice. We want something that speaks to you, you know, that tells something, maybe, you know, touches at your heartstrings. And we also want something that's going to be so emotional for you that it's going to connect you, and something that you can kind of create your own version of. Whether it's like not exactly singing it like XYZ artist, bringing your own personality and showing us that emotion and letting go, and really letting that song tell the story for you. And also that kind of means a song that you know very well. I would say, you know, a song that you know in your heart. You don't have to think about. The performance is going to be that much more natural, and I think that's going to help your audition. And I've said this every year if you're a returning contestant, but please stay away from the musical theater. This is not a Broadway competition. I don't care about that stuff. And I don't mean to be rude with that. It's just really like, this is a music artist of the year. I want to see your creativity. I want to see your artistry. I want to see your connection to the song. And in popular music, though, and that can be across any genre, across any decade or era, I just want to see that really solid pop artist potential from you. So during your auditions, there's going to be a lot of on-site feedback and just direct feedback. I want to talk about, you know, your vocal range and what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. I want you to also be prepared to just have a curveball thrown at you. You know, I might not like the songs that you've prepared. I might throw something at you where to just kind of get you out of your comfort zone. But I would say, you know, have your main song and your callback song ready. But also just be thinking of a few songs that you just know really well, you know the lyrics to, and that you're emotionally connected to. Now, the winners of this competition, one from the junior, one from the senior division, they'll each be given a round trip transportation. They'll get hotels, food accommodations, like the whole 9 yards, to come to Atlanta and, you know, have the whole recording studio experience 8-hour studio session with me where we're gonna write the song, record the song. I'm gonna show you vocal singing techniques. We're going to really get into it and level you up. So thank you again for considering this competition. I hope this video was very informative for you, and I wish you all best of luck, and I'll see you in the audition room.
Let's hear a little bit about this week's Crown Convo Challenge.
This week is a personal challenge. It's time to take a moment and reflect on your journey so far. We won't be posting winners next week because everyone has goals and reflections that are unique to them. Please download the worksheets at the link in the description and fill it out this week. We'll see you back here next week, same time, same place.
All right, before we close out, I have something exciting for those of you who love to share your story and your voice. Tonight's flash sale is for our spokesmodel optional competition. For this optional contest, you will choose a topic of your choice. We provide some examples, but truly you can speak on whatever sets your soul on fire. You will have 90 seconds to deliver your spokesmodel speech at the podium to our judges and to our audience. Our judges are listening to hear clear articulation, great communication, and a passion for the topic that you are talking about. If you want to take advantage of this week's flash sale, you only have a few hours to do so. Check out the link below and be sure to follow the instructions to get that added to your account at tonight's discounted price.
Before we finish out this week's episode of Crown Convos, let's take a look at last week's winner.
One thing I enjoy about practicing is that I can use real live judges, and while these judges may not give any feedback, they are perfect for practicing that eye contact as well as being able to just give a little more naturalness to my practice session. And best of all, they're the most encouraging judges one can have. During this practice, we are practicing keeping to that sweet spot of 55 seconds for the formal wear time limit on that national stage. As a mom and an elite contestant, I enjoy the ability to incorporate my children into my practice sessions so they can see a little bit about how mom loves to go and achieve her dreams, no matter what age or what point in life I may be.
Congrats, and I can't wait to see what your entries look like this week. Last week, we had a question asking for a demo of the new formal wear pattern. So I've got my diverse style heels on, and I'm going to walk you through the new pattern. So first of all, if you are standing on stage, you are on what we call stage right. That means that you are on the right-hand side of the stage looking out. From the audience view, you're going to be on the left. But you'll be stage right. If you have an escort, your escort will be on your left arm. And if you are a miss or elite, you will come out without your escort. This is that holding position. There is nothing to do here but stand and wait for your cue to move to the center stage mark. If you're with your escort, you're going to walk with him. If you do not have an escort as a miss or elite contestant, you will walk solo. I'm going to pretend that I'm a miss or elite contestant. And I am just going to, when I am prompted, walk to that stage middle spot. Now, if I am a miss or an elite, I am here by myself. I might put my hands on my hips. I might do one hand. I might just stand confidently. I might, as I hit this, I might bring my skirt around me and bring my hands up. All of that is fine. What is not fine? Again, as a miss or elite, it is not fine to circle into this mark. That is a no. It is not okay to come up and pivot into this mark. That is a no. You are just walking into this mark. If you want to flourish your skirt, you can, but it is just a stop. If you're with your escort, you're obviously more limited. You could put a hand on a hip. I wouldn't. You're going to stand with your escort for a moment, and then when it is time for him to leave you, the cue is usually Tonight she is being escorted by. You can look at your escort and acknowledge him. He's going to walk that way to the stage left mark, okay? Then from here, and I'm going to move back so I have more length to walk. So here I am, my escort left, or if I'm a miss or elite, I'm ready. And you are going to just walk down the runway. Now, when you get to the end of the runway, it is a pose point, okay? So I've gotten some questions. Can I, as I hit the end of the runway, do a little flirt the skirt? Sure. Don't be too extra, but you can. For the little ones, I would just not. But for the older girls, if you want to do something extra, you can. But once again, here's what we're not doing. We're not circling into it. We are not coming up and pivoting into it. Our back is not turning, okay? Just straight ahead. If you want to do a little flourish and pose, you can. This is a brief pose. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Please do not stand here all day. Please don't do it. I promise you, it's not going to help you score better. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, looking at our judges. After that, you have to now go back up the runway. Obviously, to do that, you have to turn around. The simplest thing to do is going to be to take a pivot and to go. If you have a dress that has a train on the back of it, or you just want to exit out of the pose differently, you can walk around yourself, back up this runway. Now, when you are walking back up the runway, when you get to where the runway meets the stage, you're going to start to curve around and meet back up with your escort. So here I am. Do a little exit. When I get to this juncture, I am not stopping. Okay? Don't try to get extra here. Just walk through it. I've had people ask me, well, can I slide and then go? No, because it's going to look like you stopped. So just keep it continuous all the way through. And again, once you get here to your escort, if you're a miss or elite, you'll be by yourself. Again, you're just walking and landing into it. You're not circling into it. You're not pivoting. You're not turning your back to the audience until it's time to be dismissed. Okay? So the biggest thing with this walking pattern is that it is simple. It is meant to showcase your ability to walk in the gown, your pose points, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, but it is a moving show. So this pace that I'm walking, this is a good pace for evening gown. Okay? That is a perfect pace for evening gown. Please do not walk at this pace. Don't do it, okay? If there are still questions about the formal wear pattern, feel free to drop them below and we will review and get back with any questions that you might have.
All right, Namely, that wraps up another week of Crown Convos. If you have questions, make sure to submit them in the question form below. And keep working hard. We know that Nationals is getting closer and closer. We are somehow in October, and all of this hard work that you are putting in is going to culminate in the week of a lifetime at NAM Nationals. We'll catch you back here next week.